read the story Oedipus by, you should put some stuff in this. There's Nimitz behind me there, so we're just, I cannot go for the jog this. I gotta try to go for the jog. I'm still sick. So I didn't even take my Mucinex this morning, and I got some Dayquil. I gotta take a swig of Dayquil and down a Mucinex with it. But I just had to get out of there. Hearing the birds start chirping, sun's gonna be coming up, and passing the Wednesday winning window area here, Embarcadero Marina, or the encomienda, or Embarcadero, whatever they call the thing. I was calling it a whole bunch of things. The encomienda, that's not what it is. That's the thing you need if you're gonna buy Mexican property as somebody that's not a Mexican. There's all these. Anyway, ask Ugly Betty with Century 21. What I was going to talk about was the story Oedipus. Sure enough, all this knowledge makes you sickly, and that's the point of it. And what I'm gonna get straight to the point, which is that all of psychology, of course, that's what Freud liked. Oedipus Rex, right? I mean, he was a psychoanalyst. This kind of criticism, Joseph Campbell, it was psychoanalytical criticism, but that's really what it's good for. It's telling great stories. Silence of the lambs. That's the thing with it. When the lamb is silent is when finally the tiger will be laid down for him to impregnate, and there's nothing she can do about it, and then the lamb will shut up. Until then, I'm going to keep writing books. Because when his penis is in the tiger, suddenly he's not a lamb anymore. You know? And there's just whatever we got here. What's this stuff? Okay, so we're talking about Oedipus. I just wanted to say, if you look at that story, and I have a theory on it. There's a conspiracy theory, or it's a theory or something like that, which is that, yeah, that is what Freud liked, that all of psychology did emerge out of that. And now they're just doing template CBT stuff. If I think about it, I talk about the idea of the disintegrated puzzle piece. If you read that story, there's a lot of things to be gleaned from it, literarily, psychoanalytically. But okay, and this is about Freud. It's all about himself, because he never wanted anyone to tell him he was an idiot, and so that's really what the story is about. And so because he felt like such a genius, needed to feel like such a genius, and he's in this dream, but that's what they want to put you in. That's what therapy wants to put you in, so that it keeps you separate from actual geniuses. Because all of it is microcosm and level and level and level. The Truman Show, and making sure that person is trapped in Russian nesting dolls of, encryption from eugenic people that they can't extricate themselves from, so that their genes are quarantined. And right there, incest, child came out crappy, and so the child came out crappy, and that's why they're not going to be able to go to the festival. That's why they're not going to be able to do things. Greek, very eugenic society, they can tell the difference. Let's make it a great puberty. They had later, but they had long, and their development was, all those hormones were being exposed to bloodstream for a long time, and they were becoming these people. They were incredible war machines. We know about the war machines the Greeks were from gay stuff like Homer. And back to Oedipus, that this is a key point about the field of psychology. It is a pseudoscience. There's no point in any of it. It's a pseudoscience. And they're arguing for the beautiful, just like English literature people. This is arguing for the beautiful. This is beautiful. This isn't. And yes, to a very large extent, even in cognitive psychology, people that were against Arthur Jensen and Charles Murray's and Richard Herrnstein's sociology surrounding Jensen's ideas, and thinkers in the area of race and scholastic achievement. Charles Murray loved Arthur Jensen, wanted to be a genius at Berkeley, became one. Let him be a genius at Berkeley. And look at him, he's with American Enterprise Institute. A real genius there. It's about money. It's about money. We gotta weed people out and put them in the right career fields, and we believe in it, and we believe in that kind of thinking, cognitive partitioning. But I've got all the data on a computer, so I'm a genius. And this is just a guy cracking jokes. Like I said at the beginning, he's just a guy. Yeah, he's a little funny. He's a little funny, but it's all reality. and he's a guy that's a plumber, like Larry the Cable Guy, and I'm look at me, married to my trophy wife, dancing around there, and then my second trophy wife, Charles Murray, professor. But again, the thing with that story and how central it is to the field of clinical psychology and the emergence of psychoanalysis is it isn't so much that because the children were known to be products of incest by some record on a plate somewhere, or they chiseled Greek into stone, you know, or that back then they were writing this stuff on, you know, scrolls and all the Plato's stuff was all in Library of Alexandria on scrolls. They didn't have the codex book yet. You know, they were chiseling shit into, like the Phoenicians taught everybody to do, and they taught the Jew to do it the other way in the sandstone with the chisel. So they're putting this in stone. Okay, this is a product of incest. This is a product of incest. But no, because if you're, and again, to be very clear, there's been a lot of studies into, I think because they had more people that were coming out with money. And so when you have people that are coming out with money, that's what the AP bases it on. That's what, you know, the journalism community bases it on, with what they're going to start to normalize or explain, like cousin marriage, even second cousins. And it turns out they don't come out crappy. The kids of that level of incest don't come out too crappy. And that's one of the directions they were taking it. But you know, that's for the genetics experts. And we're going to talk about needing to get a genetics expert to work with me, because I believe the alpha-thalassemia diagnosis and the strange circumstances behind how I ended up labeled with that is actually crap they put in the water, and all doctors know it, that's the crap they have to be put in the water for eugenics reasons. That I don't have that. It's not a real thing even, and that corresponds to just generally, if couples have 4 kids, one of them is going to be a little crappier than the other 3. Law of averages. That's just what that all corresponds to. But that's why we're going to have to work with genetics experts. But those are questions for the genetics experts that have read more than just clinical research, but actually understand the medical doctor people that really understand, biological inheritance and its impact, that if your second cousin or something like that. So we don't know, or if the because apparently my dad, he talks about CIA, it's confidential knowledge, that he's the son of his uncle and his mom or something like that. Or I thought it was his brother and his mom. So it was like something out of Sacha Baron Cohen, where he was just such a genius kid and locked in a cage, and then somehow he burst free and then started having sex with his mom. And that's so that he went, as Sacha Baron Cohen said, it was Borat, he get that. So there's Oedipus. That it isn't because they chisel in incest child, it's because you can tell it's an incest child. Heebie-jeebie, it's heebie-jeebie. So that's why you can't go to the festival. That's why you can't go to the bar, to these eugenic places where indeed it's a eugenics test. Dining, as we pass by restaurants, dining is a eugenics test. Are you sufficiently capable of not getting food all over your suit, putting the napkin down? Of course, you got to be exposed to opportunities and have rich family that walks you through this stuff at an early age. That notwithstanding, it still becomes a kind of test of your coordination, and if both parts of your brain, the visual, spatial, and verbal, are able to coordinate. It's not, some people, and I was one of them, we were taught to kind of think we're missing a corpus callosum. It's why we're split brain people. And I go back to the video, I put a link where I talked about it's just about the speed you were moving. But that's actually it's just a weaker brain one way or the other. And so it has to devote more attention to one part of the genius JPEG image or compression that every genius has innately wired into them, and piecing it together in the world. But it can only look at this portion of it because it's a weaker brain. So it chooses this portion versus the other. It's not that in the brain there's communicative tissue missing between left and right hemisphere, or just the neural network. It's not that simple as the neuroscientists have, and they're right about it. It's not okay, left brain, right brain. It's like in the Mercedes-Benz ads where they say this is the left brain, this is the right brain. One is good at defining, classifying, dividing everything. That's the writer. finds a word, my penis should be in it, and we break into it that way. And we have the lion held down so the lamb can shut up, but until then the lamb's not gonna shut up. But the story Oedipus, that's why they couldn't go to the festival. That's why the incest children were excluded, because they were heebie-jeebie, because they were incest children.